It's said that with cold brew coffee, you don't really need the freshest of beans. In fact, it's almost a waste to use fresh beans. You might as well just use stale. So I've heard. So let's put that to the test, because I have some really stale beans here. They've been open, exposed to oxygen for like 6 months. And then I've got a brand new packet of beans right here. I'm gonna make cold brew coffee out of both of these and see if it makes a difference.
So 1 bag stale and 1 bag fresh. Except it turns out that the unopened fresh bag I brought from the grocery store wasn't so fresh after all.
Like, seriously, these were out of date when I bought them.
So back to the grocery store for another bag, checking that this one hadn't already expired.
So I guess I'm gonna brew all 3.
Alright, let's get brewing. I'm using my blade grinder here. 1 filled cup of beans is about 66 grams. 5 pulses on the grinder gives me a nice coarse grind, perfect for cold brew. Then it's into a little French press brew bag. Tie it up and add it to the mason jar. This mason jar holds 64 fluid ounces, so 2 of these bags of coffee grinds gives me around a 14:1 ratio of water to coffee. I followed the same steps for the expired coffee. This bag was sealed, so at least the beans shouldn't have been too significantly oxidized.
Okay, now the fresh stuff.
And repeat that process 1 more time for the fresh beans. I add room temperature filtered tap water to each mason jar and leave the jars out at room temp for about 18 hours. Next day I removed the French press filter bags and put the mason jars in the fridge to chill. Now, before tasting these, I thought it might be interesting to make a hot cup of coffee from each of these beans to see if I could, as I expected, taste a difference. So I gave each of the 3 beans the pour over treatment and brewed 3 cups of coffee.
The aroma on the stale one, almost non-existent. Stale first. Oh, it's bitter as anything.
Fortunately, the other 2 were quite a bit better.
Oh, that's an improvement. Honestly, it's hard to get that bitterness out of my mouth. That taste, it's very obvious. The fresher coffee tastes more like coffee and much less bitter, and then the older you get, the more bitter it gets.
So back to the cold brew. Would the slow steeping process hide some of the off flavours and bitterness of the older beans?
Alright, this time I'm gonna start with the fresh. Yeah, super smooth. That's delicious, so drinkable. Okay, what about the expired beans? It's definitely not got that smooth taste to it. And there's a little bit of bitterness that's been introduced, which is quite unusual for cold brew coffee. Stale. Oh no. Bitter. Acidic. So the conclusion is the stale stuff is just basically undrinkable, hot and cold. Avoid. The expired stuff is drinkable, but not as good. The fresh packaged stuff, much better. Now this is off the grocery store, so it's not like super fresh, but it does make a difference. This one is really good. And if you'd like to know how long to brew cold brew coffee for the optimal taste, check out this video right here.